Hello, it is me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine sides of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see change, we need to actually shift and change the energy with inside of self. And you will get the most from these readings if you consider them um, from the perspective of the person you're seeking information about and also from yourself. And if you understand that your person is not just one energy or the other, they are both things, so you can get information about their emotional side of self and their action oriented thought mind side of self. And that's how it works. And let us begin. So normally the way that I choose who goes first is when I'm shuffling whichever one has more cards showing. And of course today they're even Steven. But the divine masculine card that's showing is looks harder to deal with. So let's start with that side of self first and see what's going on over there. Wow, lots of reversals. Oh, in fact, every single card that I'm flipping over here is reversed. So that is interesting because the only card that is not reversed is the top card of the deck. And so for me, when I get so many reversals like that, that is definitely like things are about to turn or shift or change. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Oh, and for my YouTube people that are watching, there's also a TikTok thing, so I might be like doing this, and don't worry. I'm here with you, and all the messages are going to come through. So I'm using this deck, the Rachel True Heart Intuitive Tarot deck. It's a beautiful deck, and I don't see people using it very often. If you would like to send me a deck, you can click the link in my profile, or you can click the drop down menu in the YouTube box, and there's a bunch of links there for you. And click away. You can find me there and book the personal readings and the private readings and all of that there. Okay, look, I match. The divine masculine is thinking about me. And it's true. My divine masculine is thinking about me because this is the overall thoughts of divine masculine's headspace. It's the top of the deck, and it is the 9 of Pentacles, and she looks single and fabulous and independent and enjoying her rewards. And when you have this as the overall thing in your mind, it's problematic, which is probably why we're seeing a lot of reversals, because you're focused on something that you're attached to. Because for me, the 9 of Pentacles is about like a material thing. That we have a false belief that a material thing is going to give us something that is ethereal. So we think that our happiness is going to be in this reward, and then we get the reward and we're like, well, that was fun, but it wasn't like, it didn't like fill the gaping hole inside of me, right? Like, no, it didn't. So this is an issue for this masculine energy of, I want this thing, and I'm convinced this thing is the reward that I'm supposed to have. It's my due, it's my right to have this reward because I worked hard. Like I did the work, the 8 of Pentacles. And so now I should have my reward. And instead, when I see the feminine, I see she's single, which means that we're not in sacred union, and she's independent, which means I can't keep her to myself. And she's free and autonomous the way that I want it to be and demand to be and think that I should and be. And underlying all the divine masculine's thoughts and decisions, we have this Princess of Wands in reverse, which is the Page of Wands in reverse and energy. And so I just feel regret because this masculine energy has failed to express himself consistently. It has been ineffective and inefficient and inconsistent. Those are the words I always associate with the shadow aspects of the wand cards. Because it's like having a great idea and not doing anything about it. It's like, cool story, bro. Like, that's an idea and you're not doing anything about it. So in this case, we're seeing a feminine here, and I'm also seeing that the masculine has this underlying worry that the divine feminine spark or connection with him has died, that the light has gone out, because now she's free, because he didn't approach her when she was, and now he fears that he's done everything he could possibly do to quench that fire. First thing on his mind, the Fool card in reverse. So there's and this is a feminine energy. So this is like not believing that she will take the leap with you anymore. And remember, I said there's all of these reversals. So the masculine is doing the best to turn this thinking around, to turn it all around so that he can see this from a different perspective. But right now, it just seems like the divine feminine is not going to be willing to take the leap with him. And he feels... I do think that this person has an awareness that if they're thinking this about another person, then it has to be true of themselves. Because I am getting both layers, that there is a sense that he knows he's being foolish for being overly cautious. And because of that, now he's made this feminine energy overly cautious with him. And I think thinking there's no way that there can be a new beginning. Like, how could this ever have this new beginning? Because it feels like this 10 of Wands he can just never put it down. Like, this was in the reading today that I did. I think what he was hiding. So hiding this baggage, just there's not a willingness to share this, to share information, to share communication, to share whatever he's carrying with him. It's like acknowledging that he didn't do his part in carrying the burden, because look who's got the bag in this image, right? The divine feminine has this. No one's helping her carry it. There's this loyal dog here, but it's not much help in terms of carrying this heavy burden. So that's why it's funny, because I just feel a lot of regret from the Fool card, and that's not a feeling I associate that often with it. But so there must definitely be a sense that masculine is thinking he's very foolish for leaving the burden of such a heavy burden on the feminine to tend to the relationship, because that's the next card that is in reverse, the Seven of Pentacles, which is a card about tending to the seeds that you've planted. 10:22 on the clock when I look at it, of course, and knowing that you're going to see abundance come from the seeds you've planted, but and so then you're patient about it. But when it's in reverse, there's impatience here. There's a failure to take care of self. This is not taking care of the seeds. You planted seeds and then you just fucked off, and the divine feminine was left carrying the load. And now he is thinking that the feminine is being emotionally manipulative. So he feels controlled by her unwillingness to start the cycle with him again. So masculine has a pattern. Feminine is out of the pattern. She's on her own. She's free of the cycle. She's autonomous. She's got her own cycle. And the masculine is like, shit. She's now manipulating me by not starting the cycle. So he feels controlled by this action. But in this instance, in this case, the feminine actually did this from a healthy space. It is not about emotional manipulation. And so, but that's not how the divine masculine is thinking about it. I can tell because of the divine feminine's cards that there's not emotional manipulation going on for her part from the ones I can see right now. Granted, I can't see all of them, but the ones I can see, I can tell that her headspace is not one of spite or anger or reactivity, but in fact practicality and pragmatism, because we've got masculine energy coming in over there, a lot of it. So she's being very logical, practical, and she's like, I have a goal. My goal is to be in a relationship. You do not have the same goal. If you did, we would connect on that, but your goals are different. So your priorities are different than mine. So I'm going to go towards a new goal. That's what I can see over there from hers, and we'll get there. But the masculine is seeing this as emotional manipulation. But remember that I said there was regret, because I do feel that the masculine is realizing how he does this to the feminine. The next card, I can't even believe this reading that's coming up, is the Eight of Swords in reverse. You know, sometimes you get readings that are like so good, and like the messages are like, oh my God, this confirmation of all these wonderful things. And this is just a confirmation of the shitty things that have been going on, but it's still really profound. Look at how even the patterning on the cards are similar. You know, this isn't a similar pattern, but this is. Look at that. It's very interesting. Anyway, so the burden is that the Eight of Swords, the divine feminine this is somebody who has no boundaries. No boundaries at all, right? They don't ask for help when they need it. They create they use false logic to create rigid structures that prevent them from feeling their emotions deeply. And then the only card that is saving this reading, by the way, without this card, I would be like, well, we're fucked. But no, because this card being in reverse is very, very good. And it is the Three of Swords. And when we get the Three of Swords in reverse and we know we're releasing the heartache, we're not holding on to it. We're in a state of healing, which is why every one of these cards is reversed, because every one of these things is about to turn around. And when every one of these cards turns around, what we have is a rekindling of the divine feminine's feelings, spark, or chemistry. So we now have the feminine's feelings are rekindled, which allows for the start of a new cycle, the sharing of the burden, putting down and communicating the things that were held back, the harvest finally being ready to harvest, the Queen of Cups, compassion, understanding, love, caring, appreciation, emotional mastery, psychic sensitivity, the Eight of Swords, healthy boundaries, no longer protecting yourself from what you desire, but establishing healthy boundaries around being overburdened. And the crowning glory would be then, of course, this card we would want to keep this way, but that's what happens with this healing of the heart space. All those painful truths suddenly open you up to receive what it is you truly do desire. So let's look at the heart space and see where we're at and what happened to, there it is. Okay, so if you saw the reading I did today for the feminine on TikTok and made your way over here, you may have noticed that I accidentally started speaking of the Four of Pentacles as the Five of Pentacles. Realized when I was doing that, and then, you know, honed in the message so that it was correct for the card. But when I do that, I used to think like, oh, what did I just forget? Like I couldn't read the image of the card. Obviously I can see the thing. But what I think happens sometimes is that I am meant to receive that other message or that other layer. And to confirm that for me, it's appearing twice out of the 4 decks I'm using. I can see it in the really prominent positions of, for the masculine, top of the deck, and it's going to be bottom of the deck, and reversed for the feminine, which is like exactly what that message that was coming through was about this morning in the TikTok message. So that is very powerful. So now let's see how the divine masculine feels about what he's thinking about. Now, I reversed all the cards myself, so we have a much more positive looking reading here. But that's good, because this is how the divine masculine feels right now. The 5 of Pentacles. This is the overall feeling. This is separation, abandonment. So he feels abandoned. So the masculine is really triggered right now, because the feminine in her single and independent energy has withdrawn her affection. And he had a maternal figure in the past who likely did not nurture or was not overly nurturing. And that energy withdrew or abandoned him. And here we have a trigger now coming up for this masculine energy. But remember, he's healing this wound. So he's not blaming the feminine for this anymore. He's starting to regret his own actions, because he's understanding that the feminine did not abandon him, that he has not gone to the feminine. The feminine has been in a state of abandonment. He is, because look at, here's the feminine abandoned in this card. It's not her that's leaving him. He has abandoned her to this terrible, cold, isolating separation. And he's awakening to this experience because of this trigger that has just happened in this dynamic from whatever experience he's had. So he feels sad. But underlying this sadness of his awareness of how he makes his divine feminine, his creative side of self, his emotional side of self, his feelings, his expression of those feelings, how he makes her feel unimportant, insignificant. He's really tuning into that feeling. But underlying that is this feeling, this intuition of the absolute culmination of, once you overcome this energy with the 6 of Pentacles, which is reciprocity and giving back, tending to your seeds in the 7 of Pentacles, working on your craft in the 8 of Pentacles, receiving your reward in the 9 of Pentacles, and then you arrive at the 10. So his awareness, that painful awareness, those painful truths are healing. You have to feel it to heal it. And when he allowed the divine feminine to be his focus and her feelings to be his focus, that he was never feeling it and never healing it, but just sort of watching or observing the feminine go through these cycles. Now he's actually aligning with her and experiencing these cycles and understanding. So, clarifying the Fool in reverse, we have the Chariot, which is great, because if you're afraid to take the leap, the only thing you can do 10:33 on the clock is surrender the reins to the divine and allow the divine to pull you forward. And, you know, this team of horses, they don't just arrive in a state where, you know, they can pull this chariot. They must be trained, each one of them individually. They have to be trained to block out distraction, to not be afraid. If anything spooks them and they go in opposite directions, this whole mission is lost. They were not just put onto this chariot and told to go forward, but had to be trained by someone who understood and knew how to do so. Now that that's taken place, now and only now can the divine actually drive the chariot anywhere, because now these two horses can work together as a team. So the masculine may have regret for being overly cautious about starting again, or the feminine being not willing to start the cycle again, but the masculine in his heart feels that it was good that they waited, because those two horses needed to be able to actually pull the chariot. Two white horses in a line is what just came to me. The 10 of Wands in reverse is being clarified by death. Both of these cards are about completion. And this is a card when it's in its reverse. Well, not when it's in its reverse, but when it's upright, when it's about accepting the end of something to allow the rebirth. And I like that this Light Seers Oracle does put this rebirth word on it so that people have that emphasized more. I really do value that. Because I think a lot of people just see it and focus on the ending. So this time of not sharing, not communicating, being overly worried or overly cautious about the baggage you bring, and acknowledging that it is that worry that keeps you from doing it that is literally the baggage that the divine feminine has to deal with on a daily basis. This awareness that the feminine, you overburden the feminine and sort of, self-flagellating this because you just you're hurting both sides of the self just to punish one side of the self for not paying attention to the other. And it's like, just forgive the self and allow these old patterns to end. The 7 of Pentacles is being in reverse, is being clarified by the 7 of Swords upright. And so this is so there's still this need for strategizing, for planning, because the masculine still is really wanting to get away with not feeling the impatience that is rightfully the feminine energy. I'm having a hard time expressing this right now because I think the masculine doesn't quite understand why there is this need to run and hide that happens when it's time to get the harvest, and instead we're running and hiding. I just feel like the masculine just doesn't even understand why this is in his nature. And it's because of the dark thoughts. Like, it's because of that, whatever upbringing the masculine had gave him this way of communicating with himself or with others that was very, I just heard insidious, like manipulative, getting your way, a maternal energy that was really, really emotionally manipulative and was able to find ways always of getting her way. And there would be these moments of like really cutting words, and the only way that there was a need to like navigate, like I'm seeing somebody trying to get through a minefield, right? And I can relate to that. So, and that, oh wow, so this card on either is being clarified. On one side, this is the Queen of Cups in reverse by the 8 of Swords, and it is being clarified by the 8 of Swords again. So we know that this masculine energy has had to put up healthy boundaries towards this maternal energy in his life. And he's seeing the feminine having to do the same thing with him. And this is where the regret is coming from, where he's like, wow, I've set up a situation where my feminine has to protect herself from me. just like I had to protect myself from this energy, this abusive energy. Now she has to protect herself from me. And that's why I was picking up on so much pain, because understanding that mirroring that's happening is really difficult for the masculine. It was easier to blame people outside of self. It's a lot harder to take accountability. So that Eight of Swords that's on the other side of the masculine, where he's realizing he has to learn how to do healthy boundaries. What's really positive about that is here we're finally seeing this reading turn around. And remember I said we would see this turn around. Now this Six of Swords or this Eight of Swords is being clarified by the Six of Wands, which is victory and peace, which comes after an internal struggle. And there's a solo victory here for the feminine energy, because he's allowing his heart to win out over his distorted thoughts of the mind. Can you see that? He was protecting himself from feeling, and now he's allowing this healthy energy in, which is so amazing. And that's why I told you this final card was really the saving grace of the complete reversals we had for that masculine energy. Because here we have the Page of Cups clarifying this healing of the heart space. So what is healing the heart space is the true love that exists within the masculine, the innocence of that love. And the Page of Cups is this earnestness and a willingness to apologize. And it's a very beautiful energy. And with that, let us turn now to the other side of self. So if you're just joining, this is a collective reading. I am also streaming to YouTube at the same time, and the YouTube stream will be available as a replay. So if you did not see the beginning of the reading, you'll be able to go check that out later. And now we're going to start the feminine side of self, which is, even if you're here about a person that is not identifying as a feminine energy, they still have it. So you'll still receive messages from these cards about your person, but only because they're a reflection of you. So just make sure you keep that in mind. I'm going to start with the feminine's headspace, so the thoughts that she's having. Wow. I'm pleased. Okay. So, top of the deck, I'm using the, by the way, I did say the decks for the last one, but it was the Rachel True Heart Intuitive Tarot and the Light Seers Oracle. And now I'm using the Dreaming Way Tarot, and I will be using the Ostara Tarot in the heart space. So what is overall on Divine Feminine's mind right now is the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is fast moving. It is an energy that has a strategy, has a plan. It is truthful, there's integrity, and there's communication. And I do think that the Divine Feminine is likely receiving communication from masculine energy right now. So she's talking to someone. And I think someone's talking back in some cases. In all cases, the Divine Feminine is being very honest with herself, even if those truths are painful, about masculine energy in her life. In the back of her mind, underlying all her thoughts and decisions, is the King of Swords. So we have a certain amount of emotional detachment that is healthy, because I am not seeing a distorted King of Swords energy. I'm seeing a positive one. In order for this king to command this knight to go and murder people on the battlefield for the greater good, as they like to say, then this king must be emotionally detached. It's like the beginning of the Game of Thrones series where Ned has to execute the brother that has left the wall or whatever. He has to decapitate him, and he does this in front of his children. 10:44 a.m. And there's 4 people here on YouTube. That's interesting. And so you need a certain level of emotional detachment when you are trying to follow a strategy or a plan. And even if you are in your truth and integrity in that role, you have to have a way to understand and comprehend and intellectualize your feelings, but not let them sway you to make hasty decisions, right? This is not the Knight of Wands, it's the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords does whatever the strategy or battle plan that's laid out for him he's intended to do. He's not going to go off course or off plan. So the feminine is determined to embody this energy right now of being also just and righteous in her actions. She's coming from a place of truth and integrity. So she's thinking of herself as justified. The first thing on her mind is the Star card. So whatever it is she wished for. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was Temperance, which is really interesting, and you'll see why in a few more cards. But we see the action of the feminine in this instance as the pouring out of these 2 vessels, and in this card there is this pouring of the unconscious into the material. And so it's taking what you wish for and making it actually happen. You have to have hope to be able to do anything that seems impossible. And the first thing on her mind is this hope that she has. She also is shining and being very aware of and using her gifts, because the next card that's coming out is the High Priestess. So this is someone who is very balanced and very in tune with her intuition, in tune with the divine, connected. This is a powerful energy. There is a bit of elevated self-concept here of thinking of oneself as the High Priestess. Then you're thinking of yourself as in this higher state of mind. So there is that righteousness the feminine is feeling right now. Remember that righteousness can bite you in the ass, right? Like, there's entire people that have been murdered because of our self-righteous beliefs and throughout history. So it ain't always a good thing to be all high and mighty. And I think Divine Feminine needs to take a little note about that, because I'm just seeing her be like, I'm the star. I know what I'm doing. I can't worry about that. I can't worry about this person's feelings. Like, there's a bit of that going on for the feminine. It's like, okay, calm down. Like, you made some smart decisions and you are definitely doing things to help yourself become more capable of giving yourself and receiving this thing, which I'm going to remind you, which is why I'm checking you right now for being too cocky. I just want to remind you that this is not upright. It's still in reverse. So come on down off that high horse, Divine Feminine. Remember, there are 2 horses pulling the chariot, and both of them have to be trained. Both of them have to have accountability. Both of them have to follow direction, not be distracted, etc., etc., etc. Because we want to see you thinking about your wealth and prosperity as already being here and already being in a state of gratitude, rather than being unattainable or feeling out of reach, or like it's going to float away or fall away or go away or not be reliable or not come. So I do see that the feminine is trying to be hopeful and balance herself so that she can receive this Ace of Pentacles, because what she is aware of is that there is an imbalance. What's clarifying the star but the Temperance? And it's very funny because, like I said, when I saw the star, I thought it was the Temperance card. And that's because while the feminine is pouring all of her emotion out, she's pouring all of her heart out. The divine is balancing. No heart is being poured out in this. It's being poured back and forth from vessel to vessel in a balanced way. There is not turbulence or reactivity. The waters are calm. There is no impatience for what you desire, for what you wish to happen, because you have an awareness that it's divinely protected, and of course it's coming. So this is what the feminine has been working on, which is great because we see her in this High Priestess energy overcoming the Five of Pentacles, which I didn't know was going to be here, which means 3 decks spit it out. And like I said, when I mentioned something in a reading like that, and it's, I know that it is divine, that I'm not just suddenly having a stroke and not being able to like read a card correctly, but that I'm supposed to mention another card because it's having significance in today's energy. And it sure does. And divine feminine, and I just showed you this one, we haven't even gotten to it yet, but there is no more lack consciousness. The thing about the masculine situation is, for a feminine who no longer has lack consciousness, she doesn't sit around waiting because there's no lack. Supply and demand, it turns out, is something that is fabricated, that is not truly representative of free market because it's fabrication. If there is no demand, then one will be fabricated. In our society of gross capitalistic greed. But there's no lack. There's no true lack. That was a fabrication. That was an illusion. There's no one keeping the masculine in the cold. He's the one who feels he's in the cold. Divine feminine isn't there, which is why she's not in alignment with him right now. This wealth and prosperity in reverse, very interesting. It's being clarified by the Ace of Wands. So these 2 aces are here. And there were 2 aces in another reading I did today. Oh yeah, it was the Divine Masculine TikTok reading. It was the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords in that case. But for this is very interesting because what I'm seeing is divine feminine's like, I don't want your pentacle. I don't want your pentacle. I want to grow my own wealth and prosperity. I want to know that no one can ever take that from me because I thought about how to get it and I gave it to myself. So that's all divine feminine's thoughts. Now let's take a look at her heart space. Clarifying this Knight of Swords in the headspace is from the Ostara Tarot, this divine masculine energy of the Emperor. So this is the feeling of the divine masculine, the feeling of a foundation of worthiness. It is the truth about divine masculine. And the truth is, as we saw, the Five of Pentacles in reverse. There is no lack of this energy from which to choose from which to share with, to engage with, to experience. There is no lack. There is no one keeping the divine masculine out in the cold anymore. The fire is warm, so come in, because we have the Star card being clarified by the Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Cups in reverse for me is a third party, someone else, or a release of someone else, a release of a third party that's kind of kept us in a state of not being able to receive that pentacle that we want, something like that. But Divine Feminine has hoped that whatever was getting between or getting in the way of her being able to be in a union and celebrate union, she's really hoping that that is gone away, released, poured out. The High Priestess is being clarified by the Five of Cups. Again, another card that for me, really, I see the third party energy represented in here. The person focusing on these spilled cups and not seeing the two filled cups, one which is right in front of them. There's a lot of this, it's like they're being choked with this snake energy. So this is what Divine Feminine has had to balance out. Sadness, depression, rejection. With the masculine, we've got abandonment and wounds, and now the feminine side of self, we're getting rejection wounds coming from the perception of there being all these other things in the masculine's life that are more important to him than the divine feminine. And this depression, it's made her feel like she cannot manifest her offer, her wealth, her prosperity, her abundance in the material, that she can't get started, that she can't seem to get it off the ground. It's 10:55 now on the clock. And so this magician card is in reverse. She feels like she's had to force or push or manipulate, and the divine masculine has felt that too. And she doesn't want to do that anymore. She wants to no longer try to manifest some kind of an offer. It's like she wouldn't even be happy with that anyway. It's like doing a love spell and then knowing that the only reason that the person is with you is because you put a spell on them, so you never believe in their love. And that's why there's no love. You couldn't believe in it to begin with. And divine feminine is like, this is like dawning on her. Clarifying this temperance card in reverse is the Lover's card. So there is just all these feelings that are all stirred up, all this unsettling feelings in regards to love. There's, an impatience to have it, but a sadness about it. There's too much. There's too much. And not in the good way. And so now we're seeing this energy of the Two of Swords, which is where you must go if you're very turbulent in the mind or you're having a difficulty making a decision. Then you must go into this peaceful state, going within and praying for some kind of an intervention so that this decision will be made in some way. But it's also blocking out anything that will disrupt your progress. I see this path as like you've made progress, and there's this desire that nothing disrupt this progress, because you don't want to return to this lack mentality again. You don't want to make any decisions that are going to put you back into the Eight of Swords, which is the third Eight of Swords. I'm not going to get all the cards, but if you've been here, you saw it. There's 3 Eight of Swords now, and that's what's clarifying this Ace of Wands. But now the divine feminine isn't doing anything subconsciously or like having any wounds that she's operating from that's protecting her from what she truly desires. Because holding on to one person or being focused on one person or trying to force one situation or one offer or whatever, that is what has kept her from being able to move forward and progress into any kind of relationships. And so she's releasing that prison of the mind. I think it's interesting that they chose the falcon here too, because this is the bird that is in the Nine of Pentacles traditionally, and it's what is meant to be will come back to me kind of an energy. Okay, we are now at the oracles part of the reading. This is the most important part of the reading. I think a lot of times, you know, people just want to hear what the masculine is thinking. They don't pay attention to feminine energy, not realizing that their person has it. And they also then skip out after that, because this is the part where you have to do some homework. Because these are the messages that are now going to help you with this energy. If you do not like where this energy is, if you want this energy to be in a different spot, if you want it to progress, if you do not want to see the same thing, you have to actually invest time, energy into your own growth and your own journey. Thank you so much, my sweet chaos, for moderating. I'm gonna give you a moderator thing if you would like one once you allow me to follow you. Let me see, where is it? Sorry about this, everybody, but I do appreciate that so much. If you do moderate for me, usually I try to give you readings when I can, when I'm doing collective readings, etc. But anyway, I'll try to do that after. Okay, so this is the most important part. This is the part where you got to do your homework. These are the messages that are going to guide you and help you actually make and shift and do the changes that need to take place. If you feel like, if you feel frustrated because you're waiting for a person to do something and you're like, what should I do? This is the point in your journey where you should do these things, okay? So first we're going to start with the archetype. Now, Divine Feminine got 2 today, and she's got shadow attributes of both of these archetypes. So what is the work for the feminine? Well, the first one is the gossip card in reverse. And this one says, the shadow attributes are thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information and betraying confidences. Okay, Divine Feminine, reel that back in. But right now, I think it's you know, if you're like, what, I'm not doing that, that's fine. It doesn't mean you're doing that. But the type of shadows that occur with this archetype of the gossip are those types of things. However, you may just need more to awaken the consideration for the feelings of others and honoring trust. Okay, so it came out with victim. So let's look at the 2 of them together once we've read the victim card. The victim card in reverse says, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. Now, we know the 8 of Swords came up 3 times, and boundaries is definitely a thing today. And gossiping and boundaries are sort of all just kind of linked there together. And then we have also what we need to call in is preventing yourself from letting yourself be victimizing others. So you want to return this energy around. So here's how is this message? This is what's going to help you this week. All right, so look at this person, this feminine protecting herself, right? She's got her arms around herself. She's kind of huddled there. And you can sort of imagine this story that she's telling herself, that there are these energies that are kind of talking down about her or victimizing her in some way, okay? And so there is this need for the feminine to release this belief, that this idea that the people are talking about you, people aren't talking about you. Like, and you know, the thing is, maybe you want them to talk about you. Maybe you're afraid they're not talking about you. And that's, and in your mind, you can only sort of go into a negative thing, like, oh, if people are talking about me, it's because I'm not good enough, or I'm doing something wrong, or because that's how you were raised to a certain extent. Something about that's coming up. The other thing is, you might not be saying anything because you feel like a victim. So you may not be saying anything right now, and in a way victimizing the person you're not speaking to by not communicating, because you're not being considerate of their feelings for not communicating with them. So those are the things that are coming up for that. And you have to sort of feel out where that applies to you. The guardian that's going to assist you right now is, in general, your guardian angel that's already there with you all the time, but particularly in regards to courage and bravery and strength and controlling that ego energy, the fears, the anxieties. So you're getting a boost in this energy of being able to be brave and just face those fears that people are going to talk some type of way about you, or that things are going to appear some type of way that it's going to look bad for you. Just you're being supported in this energy. You always have somebody that's helping you really with this, with these fears. The mindset that you need to work on this week is, there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. There is not. So if you've been people pleasing, worrying in that gossip and victim energy, that if you don't do the things you're supposed to do, that you're not going to look good or appear good or something, you need to embrace that there is nothing that looks better than just being in your authentic truth. You have the King of Swords and the Knight of Swords foremost in your mind, so you know what it is to have integrity, to speak, to communicate directly, to be courageous in that energy of your intellect and expression. All right, you're getting, for ritual work this week, the Spirit Guide card, and I'm seeing the infinity symbol on there, and I do think that has something to do with your counterpart, but I'm going to read the messages from the book. You've never walked alone, for each step you take is guided by a helpful and protective watcher who resides in the spirit world. Spirit guides come in many forms, including deceased loved ones, animals, and mystical beings, who bring to you many gifts and lessons, and always have your best interests at heart. All you have to do is be willing to accept their presence and pay attention to their loving messages, which can come in many ways. You're being nudged to be meditative and to go into deep commune with your spiritual guardian at this time, in order to harness spiritual connection and esoteric understanding. So we can do this little meditation together. Imagine sitting in the dark in front of a mirror during a full moon on a Monday night. I think that's tonight. Light a white candle and say, loving watchers guide the way, messages throughout the day, finding pennies, feathers fall, spirit signs to mark their call. Stare at flame of candle white, shifted focus in new light. Shadows all around I see, glimpsing figures easily. Magic helper at my side, mirror reveals spirit guide. Now imagine blowing out the candle, and imagine the smoke from the extinguished flame wrapping around you, binding you and your spirit guide together. And say, gratefully, I accept the magic of you, of protection to assist in all that I do. Lend me the courage, build power in me, assist my transcendence, so mote it be. So that is an interesting and timely message. And wow, so the masculine who was worried about the feminine not taking the leap, and the feminine energy is getting the card of grasshopper spirit that says take a leap of faith. Right now, you are poised to jump up into the next level of your life and move forward into something even better than you could have ever imagined. When grasshopper spirit appears, it is a fortuitous time to take a leap into the unknown. For grasshopper spirit represents the innovative spirit that says, why not? And has faith in the powers of co-creation. You are being called to trust that this is the right time to go with that idea, relationship, or situation. Take risks, for abundance in all forms will show up for you. Wondrous things await when grasshopper spirit appears. You're not going to go backward, so listen to your intuition rather than your fearful ego that resists any change and clings worriedly to what was. Luck is on your side. Jump up and forward with confidence, for Spirit has so much in store for you, if only you take that leap. Well, you heard it here, folks. Go take the leap, Divine Feminine. All right, and your theme for this week is one of the most interesting depictions of the Devil card that I've seen, and leave it to Aleister Crowley and Crowley's deck for this little magical Devil card. So yeah, this is a card about pleasure, Divine Feminine. When it's upright, we tend to look at the Devil card and we're like, it's about addiction, and it's about bondage, and it's about codependency, and it's about toxicity, and it's about fear, and it's about anxiety. Yes, but it's also about pleasure, and it's about questioning the status quo and being rebellious and not doing things the way that everybody else does things, and being willing to, be naughty sometimes in a positive way. It is also really about understanding that you are not bound to the pleasures that you would like to experience, but you are welcome to experience them when they are in alignment with you. Like, if you know what your 4 core values are and you spend money on things that are in alignment with those 4 core values, you tend to receive more prosperity and abundance. If you feel shame when you spend money on anything that isn't really in alignment with your core values, then that's where you start to see yourself diminish. And so it's up to you to determine how you give yourself pleasure, if it's in alignment with who you are as a person, or if it goes against who you are, and you'll know right away by the way that you feel. So the feminine really needs to work on all of those issues this week, and that includes the dark and the light of that card. Time for the masculines oracles. All right, what is going to help the masculine energy this week? We're starting with an archetype. All y'all are in shadow this week. There was not a whole lot of light coming out. So the shadow attribute of the pioneer is the compulsive need to move on. Now, I would also associate the pioneer with a King of Wands energy, because that is a very pioneering, visionary energy that just does exactly this, has a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. So masculine, 11:11 on the clock as I'm saying this, shift into the energy of the King of Wands, the pioneer who has confidence to go and do and be, and stop just moving on when things get a little bit challenging because you're afraid you're not up to it, like we're bored of it. The guardian angel that's supporting the masculine right now is the stress management angel. This is just, your angel is really supporting you in not being overwhelmed by all that you have to process, which is a lot. Your side was a lot of cards right about to shift or turn around, and shifts have a lot of heavy energy associated with them that needs processing. And if you're not relying on the feminine to do the processing for you, you have your own spirit guide, your own team that are going to be able to help you with the stress of moving into this pioneering energy. Mindset that you need to cultivate this week is the universe works fast when I'm having fun. The masculine gets this a lot because I think that masculine energy is really focused on the negativity bias in a lot of the situations, like just really looking always at the worst case scenario type of an energy, and instead of just being like, there's a lot of ways I could have endured or learned lessons, and the learning by loving someone, I mean, there's worse ways to do that. So if I could have just a little bit more fun while I'm working on these things, I think that it would go fast. This is, not being willing to distract yourself, being the kid in the back seat who keeps asking, are we there yet? And if you would just play like I Spy with my little eye for like 10 minutes. You wouldn't even notice the time was passing. Wow. All right, St. Michael has been a big deal for me right now. And here is the St. Michael, the archangel, in this energy of confidence. And this is the ritual work for the masculine side of self for this week. A lack of confidence is blocking you from living your life to the full. It's about time you trusted in your own gifts and abilities, for self-doubt seems to be running the show. You already know the answers and you understand what's best for all, yet you still keep quiet and seek out the opinion of others. It's time to trust and believe in yourself. Daily positive affirmations will increase your feelings of self-assurance, and in turn, an appreciation of your unique qualities will increase. As new confidence shines forth, you're more readily available to share with the world everything you have to offer with strong conviction. So, this is the spell incantation, or just the meditation we can do now just to do this healing part of the card. You're imagining that you're facing east on a Sunday morning during a full moon phase. Hold a licorice root and a sunstone crystal and say, doubts be gone. Choose belief. Licorice root brings relief. Affirmations are the key, inviting positivity. Continue on assertive theme, building up new self-esteem. On solar plexus, place sunstone. Self-assurance now to own. Shining brightly like the sun, exuding confidence and fun. Remind yourself to say daily, I fully believe in myself and have confidence in all I do. Now say, gratefully I accept the magic of you, of protection to assist in all that I do. Lend me the courage, build power in me, assist my transcendence, so mote it be. You can do it, Divine Masculine. We all believe in you. All right. The next message coming from the Animal Spirit Oracle is Antelope Spirit. Life is speeding up. Thank you to everybody who's liking the TikTok as well, and my YouTube. And if you're seeing this on TikTok and you only came for the end or you didn't see the beginning, I've been on for about an hour, and you can catch the full replay on my YouTube. It's available right now. You can even head over there and start watching it from the beginning right now if you so desire. All right, let's see. What the heck am I doing? I'm looking for the second card. Okay, number 2. When Antelope Spirit rushes into your life, you're being reminded of the quickening of your personal evolution as a powerful co-creator. You're being told unequivocally that it is time to get moving, set your intentions, and take action toward making your dreams real. There is an intensity you can feel, and it is important to take advantage of this energy right now. If you have a plan for your career or financial abundance, now is the time to step it up. If you're asking about a relationship, make that first move. Just know that the intentions you have set in motion are coming together now at warp speed. Stay alert and keep up. Things are getting interesting when Antelope Spirit calls you to move quickly. So I'm planning a tour. And that is what my masculine side of self is having to do to step up to allow my feminine side of self, which is my musician, the creativity, the emotional expression, to actually be able to go out and be seen and perform in her star energy. So in order to do that, I am planning a big tour. And if you would be so kind as to send a donation, it will help me towards my goal. I'm trying to get a very modest, probably unrealistically small goal of $10,000 for this 2-week tour. And so any little bit helps. And one of the best ways to help me is to become a member, $3.33 a month on my site. You'll receive the full Tell Me Everything spreads on Thursdays or Fridays, plus additional content when it is available. And that is going to be such a helpful thing, because the more people that sign up for that, that just covers my baseline every month, so that anything else I make, I can put towards this tour, which will then hopefully raise the rest of the money I need to finish the record, which is another $10,000. But being a musician is fun. I swear, it is. And also, I do produce other artists and work privately with artists. All that information is on my profile. And if you've been asking for a reading, you can book a personal private reading at the link in my profile or at the link below if you're here on the YouTube video. And you will see all the options there. There are pre-recorded options for under $100 that are available. But if you want a virtual session with me, it is choose the custom reading or one of the larger collective, or not collective readings, sorry, the Divine Tune-In, the Release and Rebuild, or the Obstacles Removed spreads. All of that is available at the link in my profile. And I appreciate all the love, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the follows, the word of mouth, and going and listening to my music, all ways that you can support me for this time and energy that I do put into this thing that I deeply, deeply love. And with that, we have this masculine's final card here. The theme for the week is the Prince of Wands, which is basically like the Knight of Wands in this deck. But this is that passion and that fire and that spontaneity. Like, get it in there, get it done, sweep her off her feet. You just got to let yourself be carried away by the fiery conviction of your passions, right? Just do it. That's like, just that your reading over here is the Nike swoosh, okay? That's what your reading is. Oh, and I think I just flipped that when that happened. Okay, so that's shifting energy. So we're at the final part of the reading. Honestly, I'm feeling like I can handle some private readings. So if you're over here on TikTok, and you do want a private reading, after I close out this reading, I will swap over here and I will be doing $11, $22, and $33 readings. Click the link in my profile. There's a PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App button. Send that. Make sure you tell me how much you put in the comments and what your question is. But that's going to be after this portion of the reading, which is just going to be a few more of these cats. So let's finish up this energy now. If you want to see me again on YouTube, you have to become a member, which was $3.33, and I will be doing a reading for YouTube or for private members on Thursday or Friday for the Tell Me Everything spread. Otherwise, I'll be on TikTok all the time. Tomorrow's my day off, but other than that, I shall be on the TikToks doing these live readings like this. And also, I do little collective readings when I go live. So even if you see me go live and you don't want a paid reading, sometimes I do collective readings. So you can always tune in over there. I think that's all the announcements I have. Okay, let's now continue. So the actual archetype that will benefit both masculine and feminine energy this week is the Networker archetype. Like I said, I think I flipped it when I picked up the cards. Oh my God in heaven! I just saw the card underneath it. Shut up. Okay, so empty ways. It flipped out like this. I think it was upright, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to just give you both sides. First of all, let's look at the picture, which we're seeing somebody who has envelopes and mail, and they're getting mail, and they're sending mail, and they're doing things, and they're talking to each other, and they're communicating, and there's information passing. And it's through a network. That's like probably social media or internet, probably references, okay? The shadow attribute is conveying information only for personal gain and spreading fear and falsehood. And the light attribute is enhancing unity through the sharing of information, engendering social awareness and empathy. So here's my thinking about this card and why it came out for both of you and why it's like this and like that and like this and like that. And it's because both of you are only conveying information for personal gain and spreading fear and falsehood by not communicating directly. 1122. And if one of you has tried to communicate directly and the other one doesn't respond in communication directly, and then you pull back completely and you block and you unblock and you do all that dance, right? There's that going on. And if there's no environment where this communication can occur and there's no place for this to, I feel like you're being called to come out of this network Like, that's why it flipped over. Like, come out of the internet. Come out, wherever you are, and enter into the reality of the land. Okay? Like, join us. Guess who's next? Guess who your guardian is? Saint Michael the Archangel, which is so crazy to me. Literally dealing with somebody named Michael right now. And there's like just, it's just so, for me, so profound. But yes, Saint Michael the Archangel. So masculine energy already has this energy, and this is for both of you now, not just one or the other. I feel like doing ASMR. I can do ASMR in between these messages, except that I shout at you as an Italian woman, so that's really not going to go well. I'm going to have to change that aspect of my delivery. But I'll just click the nails with my cards because I'm enjoying that right now. Okay, so here's the mindset you need to set for this week, which is, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. So we saw the darkness in this reading. And this is the prayer that you need to bring to that darkness. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. One more time for the kids in the back. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. Thank you. That's what the universe is doing for you right now. Good luck. This is the ritual card that you're getting right now. It's like, good luck with that. Good luck. It's good, though. It's good fortune. Divine timing. You know, all that good shit. Let's do the ritual for this card. I'm going to be a little more reverent for the ritual. I'm getting punchy here at the end. I don't know. Oh, 4-4 right in front of me. 111 on the timer. And 11 people in the room. Aha! I love that. Thank you so much for that synchronicity. And the good luck card at the same time. Okay. Having faced hardship and misfortune, a little bit of luck will be a welcome relief for you. By stepping away from a negative outlook, you've invited in a magical force that supports the fortuity you wish for. Oh, this reminds me that I went to the cemetery with my mother this weekend to my grandmother's grave. And when we were walking back, I had my camera out because I was taking pictures of some of the headstones that were in our plot because I just wanted to remember them. And as I was walking away, I saw on a headstone the name Pearl caught my eye. And I was like, oh, Pearl. And I looked at the headstone, and the name of the family was Fortunae, fortune. So I literally just took a picture of that, and now here it is, the fortuity you wish for. So look out for synchronicity and meaningful coincidences that negate your bad periods and that usher in a change of fortune. Think black cats, horseshoes, and four-leaf clovers to ensure that luck is most certainly on your side. Now is your chance to grab a fortuitous opportunity and take advantage of this prosperous energy of lucky charms, for you're blessed with a lucky streak. So, to do the meditation, we're envisioning holding a coin to our heart at noon on a Tuesday during the phase of a full moon, which would be tomorrow. Face south and say, a coin for gain to change the way. Good fortune favors me today. It flows to me and fills my core. Bad luck's thrown out forevermore. A winning streak, the bounty's in. This stroke of luck will help me win. Celebrate through dance or song. My lucky day. I can't go wrong. Leave the coin in nature for someone to pick up and share in the luck. And say, gratefully, I accept the magic of you, of protection to assist in all that I do. Lend me the courage, build power in me, assist my transcendence, so mote it be. There's a change for the better. Lucky energy surrounds you right now. Grab opportunities with both hands, and a black cat signals a lucrative win. Wonderful. All right. And your spirit animal guide, you see clearly now. Love this for us. Number 43. So, for both the masculine and feminine side of self, you see clearly now. Owl spirit arrives to remind you that the wisdom within you is informed by your keen senses and the wisdom within the consciousness we all share. Even in the darkest night, the owl sees clearly and is guided by every sense it has, including the first sense of intuition. Right now, your sensitivities are turbocharged, and you are receiving messages from all directions. Owl spirit reminds you to be wise and pay attention to what's between the lines, what is invisible to the naked eye, what cannot be heard with the ears, and what others may not be able to perceive. With all your senses aroused, you have much knowledge available to you. Clarity will come as you sit with all that you are sensing, allowing your intuition to guide you in understanding the whole and not just the parts. Let your wisdom arise and be your guide as you trust the acuity of all your senses. Intuition is real and can provide the clarity you need to understand your situation right now. Your relationship, your finances, your job, whatever it is, you can see the truth clearly now. That is powerful. Closing message. And the theme finally for this week that you both must work on energetically, both parts of self need to work on, is the Seven of Pentacles. On this card, it says failure. This is from the Thoth Tarot, the Aleister Crowley deck. And I will tell you right now that if you think that if you plant a seed and it starts to come up, and the first time that you see it, it is not just ready to produce harvest for you, that you have failed, then you will never feel satisfied, because we are always growing. Things are always coming to cycling in different points. There's a time for everything, a time to harvest this and a time to harvest that and a time to harvest another thing, right? So you have to have a sense that when you nurture and care for something, it needs the space and time to grow, to achieve its fullest potential before it can be harvested. But there are many things that are available for harvest. There are many things that you're tending to, not just one thing. And if you see only that one plant as that's not produced its fruit yet as being a failure, and reject all the other places where you have abundance available to you, you are missing the point. So really embrace that lesson. That's your theme for this week. Being patient and taking care of yourself and tending to and nurturing the things that you want to bring to their fulfillment, and giving them the space and time to grow and watering them. Okay, so I'm going to close out over here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. Please share and subscribe. Make sure you click all the things. Click the box below. Interact with the things. And if you would like if you're over here on YouTube and you would like a personal reading, hop over to my TikTok, Pearl's Prayers. The link is also below. And I will be doing $11, $22, and $33 readings for like another 30 minutes or so is probably all I have left in me. So if you want to get a quick reading, head over there. Otherwise, you can book a personal reading at the link in my profile. Thank you so much for being here, and I shall see you next Monday.